I'm going to say this. In one of our conversations, Ginny said, I was kind of a corporate misfit.
Yes.
And I was too. Yes. And I always wondered why I didn't totally fall in line. And that I didn't always do exactly what they told me to do.
Ever.
And ever. And I always got, I don't say in trouble, but I was. I disrupted things.
Yes.
I challenged the ideas. I challenged the thought because I thought they're just doing it because it's easy and they're just used to doing it. It's
yes.
like the old meatloaf story. Anybody that's heard the meatloaf story. You cut the ends off the meatloaf in our family, and I wanted to know why. My mother said, ask your grandmother. I asked my grandmother. My grandmother said, well, my mother did it. Well, my great-grandmother was still alive, and I asked her, why do we cut the ends off the meatloaf? And she said, well, my pan, you see, was a little bit too small, so we just cut the ends off. So for 3 generations, nobody asked the question. Right. So here's me, the misfit. Why are you doing that? Right. Why is it? So you said that, and it resonated with me. You also said you were kind of pissed off at the whole LSAT thing and the fact that it didn't work for you, and you're not going to stop and right. wait and try to figure it out and beat it. You're just going to keep going.
Right.
So that's that innate quality. That's
yes.
something that's just in you. You're kind of a fighter. That's just the way it is. But you also mentioned your mother right at the very last part of that. You talked about your mom, and you talked about being Italian, and those are those proximal and distal influences that have formed you. The only daughter between 2 boys in an Italian family, you better fight, right? You
yes,
better have some
yes.
survival
And we all have
skill.
PhDs and MBAs. That's the rule. Okay.
Not competitive or anything.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, not at all. But yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. And the misfit, I think, is really important because we're all taught to behave in a certain way, especially women. And asking why, people take that as you're challenging me. Right. You don't really think I know what I'm talking about. And people are at the core can be insecure. And I get it. We're all insecure. However, if we build that relationship of trust and we learn from each other, for me, it would have been a lot easier. But people don't like the word why. Like, how are we doing this? Let's try it differently. I remember when I started with HR, and I remember the team. I brought them all together. I go to IBC, and everybody's around. IBC, is big, right? I mean, they've got presence. And I would ask them, like, everyone, this has been a cash cow around here. Well, there's a lot going on. We've got a great life. How can we change? How can we do things differently? And everyone's like, why are we going to do that? I'm like, because life is going to change, and we need to continue to evolve. But it's easy sometimes, I think, just to...
Yeah, it is easy. That's why people are afraid to, rock the boat for all those reasons, and it creates work. Like, it's work to change.